Good morning guys from Acapulco Airport. I just about said that right. It's another warm one, isn't it? Well, today I'm going to be taking a flight with Volaris back to Mexico City. I've no idea what they're like, having not been to Mexico before, but let's go and check them out, shall we? And I'll catch you on board the flight. Cheers for now. Acapulco Airport is located about 26 kilometers southeast of the city, and it cost me 400 Mexican pesos in a taxi to get here. Now, it's officially known as General Juan N. Alvarez International Airport. He was the general who was the 24th president of Mexico way back in 1855 apparently. Now we'll be departing from the new terminal here, which was built in 2018 to handle increasing air traffic. In 2021 the airport handled just under 750,000 passengers. I'll tell you what, it's a lot cooler in here. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to leaving Acapulco because it was, nice beachfront, but you scrape beneath the surface there, and yeah, it's pretty scruffy really in my honest opinion. Let me know if you've ever been here, what you think of the place. Anyway, yeah, Volaris, I think it's a bog standard A320. It's going to take about an hour and a quarter to get back to CDMX, and I'm in seat 1A by the way, which will be good. So I paid a little bit extra for that, but it's still quite a cheap flight. I'll tell you how much it costs at the end of the video. So yeah, we'll just I've got a couple of hours to kill now, so we'll go and do a little bit of exploring of the airport, I think. I'll see you in a bit. Departures was fairly quiet today, and after a quick check of my travel documents, I was allowed up the escalator, through security, and then through the usual duty-free experience. There were a few facilities airside, Starbucks, some other little eateries and gift shops. But yeah, there wasn't much flying out today, as you can see here. However, the two Volaris flights departing to Guadalajara and CDMX, they both decided to board at the same time from two adjacent gates. And subsequently, it was absolute chaos. Now, even the Mexicans were confused. There were announcements in Spanish from the gate staff, that was all really, but I took my chance as I figured nothing else was leaving gate 5, so I headed for there. And in the end, a quick scan of my boarding card and I was let through. But even then it was confusing because the aircraft leaving from gate 6 was at gate 5, and our aircraft, gate 5, was actually another walk across the ramp. I checked twice, once at the bottom of the jet bridge and then once again as I boarded, just to make sure I was definitely on the correct flight. Hopefully the captain was on the right aircraft as well. And obviously it didn't take me long to find my seat, so I made myself comfortable watching the crew chatting amongst themselves as they ignored the boarding passengers. Legroom was pretty decent in row 1, as you would expect. I did contemplate rummaging through the scruffy in-flight magazines here, but decided instead to try and look out the window. Unfortunately, it was so badly discoloured, it almost looked like I was in the middle of some kind of desert sandstorm, didn't it? Anyway, after the cabin crew had finished the safety demonstration, they started their lunch and we pushed back from stand. Sad but necessary to report that there were no seat checks carried out in the cabin prior to takeoff. Like I said, the state of the window was not conducive to high quality takeoff footage, so apologies for the poor picture. Once we were in the air though, I found the window behind me to be much better, although a bit awkward to film out of. I was just about able to crane my neck around far enough to get some decent shots of Acapulco as we climbed out from runway 28 and then turning towards the north and Mexico City. Right, so my seat, which was a premium seat, see here, was decent enough with good padding from top to bottom. It reclined, and I would say about 10 centimetres, not that you'd need to do that on such a short flight to be honest, and I did have the whole 3 seats to myself on this flight, as did the person opposite. Now the table folded out from the armrest and slid forwards and backwards, as you can see here, all very standard stuff really. Above the seat were individual air vents and reading lights, plus attendant call buttons, which should only really be used if you wanted to disturb the flight attendants who were busy chatting and eating at the front of the aircraft. I had a quick look at the Buy On Board magazine, though I don't think the FAs were too bothered about selling stuff to be honest. There was no sign of a trolley, but an announcement was made in Spanish, which may have been to the effect that if you wanted anything then you should attract their attention. I noticed that every so often that one of them would rummage around in the galley for something and then take it back down to the cabin. I did have a quick look in the toilet and yeah, it was reasonably clean and everything worked. I love the massive red arrow on the mirror by the way, just showing everyone where the waste container was. Baby changing facilities too. I didn't see any, but yeah, it does say never to leave infants unattended on the nursing table, so that's probably why. But yeah, overall it was okay, the loo, and well done to the passengers for keeping it clean, I say. We encountered some turbulence over the mountains as we approached Mexico City. A seatbelt light came on if anybody was interested, and seeing as the flight attendants wouldn't pay much attention, I thought I'd set them the challenge of leaving my seat in the recline position. As predicted, no one bothered to check the cabin prior to landing, and they just took their positions in the jump seats. So we made our approach over the suburbs of Mexico City, flying straight in on runway 05R. There were no announcements from the flight deck, either during the flight or on the ground. The only thing I managed to deduce was that we'd ended up on a remote stand, where we remained for a good 20 minutes or so, while the ground staff tried to figure out how to get the steps up to the right height for an A320. Well, they were short by about a foot, but yeah, no worries. We were soon on the bus, dicing with the other ground vehicles and larger moving aircraft. Now, generally speaking, this was a quick and no-frills flight for passengers that want to get from A to B as cheaply as possible. I paid 867 Mexican pesos for this one-way flight, which included the additional cost of a premium seat. There were one or two issues regarding cabin procedures, and yeah, just because it's cheap, it doesn't mean that safety should be compromised, does it? Anyway, we eventually arrived at the terminal building, where we were free to go, and I made my way over to the metro station and back to my hotel. Whew. Okay guys, I am back in my hotel, and what do you think of that? Volaris A320 from Acapulco up to Mexico City here. Yeah, not bad for a budget carrier. I guess you get what you pay for, don't you? Because with regards to health and safety, well, there wasn't much. No seat checks prior to takeoff or landing, and the crew seemed to be quite happy eating their lunch and having a chat at the front of the aircraft. Yeah, there you go. If you've had a similar experience to mine, please let me know in the comments below. And in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for joining me on this adventure, and I'll see you on another one soon. Cheers for now.